Catus Maximus here. This time this is a thread chaser, Buckingham thread chaser made in Binghamton, New York. This has actually been making these for a long time, decades. This is an older unit, but they're still around, still making these, and they're still really expensive. Somewhere around $100 to $120. Now, the usefulness of this tool is a little bit debatable just because it is big and oversized. What is nice is it's adjustable. Usually when you're fixing thread chasing tools, or tools, I haven't damaged the threads on this, but when you have threads that have been, dinged, dented, damaged in some way, you can actually, some people use dies. Problem with an actual die is it's made to cut threads, and so when you're trying to use it to fix threads, it actually will remove material, technically making the thread thinner and weaker. So they're actually quote-unquote tap and die sets, which are known as thread chasers, that are specially shaped just to attempt to fix threads without actually, or with only removing a minimal amount of material. There's also thread files that attempt to file away the dings. All this is a more complicated version that's adjustable. Pretty nicely made. This older one, this is like a cast aluminum or cast zinc body. The rest of it's steel. Nice billet steel. It has a locking collar, so once you get the size just how you want it, you can lock it down. You adjust it just by moving the handle back and forth, and all that does is move the V either way further down for maximum size or way up. This does have a huge range of sizes, from 25 millimeters or 1 inch all the way down to 5/16 or 8 millimeters. What you have here is you have some springs that kind of allow these different plates. These plates are offset, although this wheel is straight, and it makes it a little bit annoying because when you run this tool it's a little bit offset. And then it has two sets of very hardened steel plates. One set has teeth, one set is smooth. So really you would choose which direction you're running this depending on if you have really damaged threads and you want to try to cut away some of the damage, or if they're just a little bit dinged up. What you do is the quote-unquote leading edge, the edge that's encountering the damaged threads first, is how you make the choice. You might say, okay, I'm going to start with this side so that it just kind of smooths out some slightly folded over or dinged up threads. You would start with this side if you really need to make some cuts. Anyway, how it works is pretty simple. You just put the fastener in there, adjust this, put the fastener in there, and then you would slowly adjust it just until you get a right amount of tension. You want to feel it. You want the fastener to be able to basically turn with a hand amount of torque. If you have studs or something like that, then of course you can use this in situ or when the bolt is currently mounted. But you just adjust it just like so, and we can see that it's slightly cantered to the angle of the threads. As soon as you get it adjusted, you lock it down, and then if it's in a bolt in a certain situation, you would just turn it by hand. As you turn it, the little roller rolls to kind of keep it along, and that's all it is these teeth are just biting into those threads now at that 60 degrees. That's that angle, and you just turn the fastener out or in, depending on what you're doing, to get it to chase the threads. And that's all this tool is. It's just a very more complicated adjustable thread chaser, and the reason it's so expensive is simply because you have all these different components. As far as the actual price being over $100, it is nice. It is an American-made tool, and they are still made in the United States. Actually, I think they may even be, at least this housing, maybe a little bit better quality. But they are unique. The problem is that they're bulky. You really have to get it adjusted just right, because you can otherwise potentially damage the fastener if you tighten it down too much. And sometimes they're just a little finicky, and of course, once again, it's size that you need just a huge amount of space. You're going to need 6 inches of space to be able to swing this around if it's like a stud or something, or a bolt where you can't remove the fastener and actually manually run it through this. This is something where you may put it in a vise if it's a really damaged fastener. Anyway, I thought it was just kind of an interesting tool. Once again, these plates here, or not the plates, but those black metal springs, are just to allow the plates to flex further apart or closer together, because if you're using it on a larger coarse thread bolt, of course these plates are going to have to be further together. So these are just springs that allow the plates to kind of self-align. I just thought it was an interesting tool that is still made and is still around, but for its expense, it's a little bit more, I would say, specialized, but definitely can be handy because it is one tool that can work through a vast array of sizes. The other thing about this company is they do make more than just this one tool. They make multiple versions of these, some for super tiny threads and some that are massive for like 2-inch or 50mm or larger size threads. But I had never even seen or heard of this tool, and when I picked it up I thought, well, this is a pretty unique tool, but I had no idea really what it could have possibly been for, because it's just kind of an odd looking tool. And then once again I learned that it's a thread restoration and thread chaser tool. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody who's been watching and subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. Till next time, Catus Maximus out.